Welcome back into the Kramer Show, and joining me now is the truly beloved, the SFL Commissioner. Yes, we had the Commissioner on the show. I wish we'd have got him sooner, but we got him now. Cameron Irvine is joining me now. Cameron, how you doing?
Oh, I think it's the first time I've ever been called beloved, Kramer, but thank you for the introduction. I'm doing great.
Well, that is good. So the hot topic that we're going to cover on this is SFL minor leagues, and it's like pretty much a big expansion coming to the SFL. And my first question for you is, with the trend of new people coming into the league, did you see this coming so quickly?
Well, I think that after the first couple of months on television, when we first got our contract in August, we really looked at those numbers and how they were able to grow our league. We grew our league by 100 spots in the off season. Which was a major growth. Every team went from 12 to 17 spots. We did lose a team, but promised 2 more teams to come the following season. So, we added a lot of spots. We had a very large draft class. I believe the largest in history. We had one 3-round draft before, but I don't think we had 20 teams at the time. So it was a really awesome first year on television. I think that we were cautiously optimistic to see how the market would respond to us returning to television after a couple of months of an event here or an event there. But in our off season, being on television the second round, if viewership goes up, if viewership goes down, that really shows, were you able to make a statement in the marketplace, right? Are people seeing that the simulation football is back and now watching again because of it? And I think that the first week's numbers of newcomers into our SFL community proves that we've certainly made our mark, and there are a lot of people out there on this globe that really see this product as something that can make an impact in their lives in any kind of way. So once we saw those numbers, we knew that it was time, and we kind of had a feeling going into the season that it was time. And for years, people have said, suggested, oh, you should have a minor league. You should have a minor league. And it did not make sense. But for our league and how fast it's grown and how quickly it's grown over the last 6 months, it was really a necessary measure that we had to take to ensure that the quality of product that people are getting from their first day here to their last was a great experience, and so I think that the timing is right, and the minor league will launch us into sort of the next era of the SFL, which is going to be a very competitive and very difficult market to keep. If you're a player currently in the league, it's going to be harder than ever before to maintain that spot, because there's so many people wanting what thousands of people have either already had before or have now.
As you say, you want to keep the product the same between the pretty much the main stage and then the minor leagues. And I know I totaled up about 110 people joined in that first week alone, from Friday to the ending game on Monday night. So you want to keep that product the same. So how much will this minor league system be different, or will it pretty much be the same? Like, so how's it going to work?
And it's actually now over 150.
Oh wow!
Since Friday, so it is. That is about a third of our league right now.
And by the time this video goes up, there's gonna be a lot more.
Yeah, you're right. It could be even more. So, you're absolutely right, Kramer. Since we'll have week 2 in the books as well, but how it will be different. So, playbooks will be a little bit more restrictive. They won't be as vast, right? Like right now, you can have between 70 and 150 offensive plays, the target, which we're still finalizing rule books, but we've been putting them together over the past few weeks, is 70 to 100, right? So it just shows the difference. Like it's the same type of strategy. It's just not as expansive. Nobody actually is owning or in charge of operating these organizations. The league will be essentially using a waiver wire system to help designate players into different spots onto different teams. So the minor league will be more of an allocation system. Kramer, the teams won't necessarily be responsible for recruiting players. As more players come into the league, it becomes harder and harder and harder and harder to actually go through all of these accounts, trying to find the best fit, that'll be sort of done by the league and by simply asking a player, what position do you want to play? And then seeing which team has that spot available. For example, if a player wants to be a free safety, that's their number one position. The league would then look at all of its 8 minor league teams to see, well, who has a free safety spot available, and who is the next team on that waiver wire that is eligible to pick up that free safety. And so team leadership, whether it be from a coaching staff or sort of a player liaison, those people will be more responsible for the competitive product on the field and an active and engaged locker room. And so in terms of like the upper management of these minor league teams, it's going to work a little differently, but the type of product that you see on the field, the development in coaching staffs, and the experience that players will receive, having games being broadcasted on our YouTube and Twitch channels, tracking stats, and preparing for the draft, those type of things will all be available to minor league players as well. And obviously the league administration will be running the league. So the type of quality you expect out of the SFL, you'll see in SFLM as well.
Perfect. When will we know about the teams and how the players can actually officially join those teams? Is it like you said it's like an allocation to where boom, you free safety 1, you go to this team? But is there can people say, hey, there's a certain team that I want to go to? Can they do that?
Well, depending upon when the show airs, Kramer, we might have already made the announcement. Now that's the goal of the league. It should be coming out sometime between week 2 and week 3, and the league is basically building the infrastructure behind the scenes to transition the league into a subscription model.
Wow!
We're preparing we're a year-round entertainment product at this point, with minor leagues and major leagues and Pro Bowls and rookie drafts on site and schedule release shows and big championship games. 5 games in a row on television. Like it has become a year-round operation with a year-round staff and with a league that has gone from basically, 300 people in a Discord to 1,500 people in a Discord overnight. And so with all that drastic change, the league needs to be able to increase its staff, increase its footprint, and be able to provide all of these players the type of engagement that they're hoping to receive by living in a world where they feel like a professional athlete on a big television stage. And so with all that growth in such a short period of time, the league has to keep up with that growth in order for the product to ultimately be successful. So once we have all of that in place, then we'll begin sort of accepting rookies into spots on the minor league team. That process will be pretty quick. It's basically going to open up, and anybody out there that doesn't have a team, they're going to have first rights and first opportunities, and it's up to them to to sort of reserve that spot for April. Once the minor league fills up, it's full, and it becomes the demand becomes even greater to covet one of those spots on your way to the rookie draft and the professional leagues. The odds that the professional league rosters increase is very high at this point, given all that's happening with the minor league and how many people are here. It's a great problem to have, Kramer, but things are going to happen very quickly, and the league just wants to ensure as best we can that the people that truly want to be here and truly deserve that stardom, have those opportunities to do so as soon as possible.
So out of that response, I'm pulling two things out of that. So you mentioned subscription-based. Will that factor into the people who've already paid for progression already now, or will they have to wait till season 15 in order for that to happen for the people who are on the pro leagues?
Right. So everybody that's paid all the progression this season for season 14 is the old model. It won't affect anybody that's playing and competing in season 14 at all. It'll go into effect for the minor league participants, and then that will transition into the major league participants for season 15 as we fill the minor league, expand roster sizes, and go up from 20 to 22 teams.
So, and also adding teams to it, you also mentioned that roster spots on the pro leagues may go up. We're sitting at 17 right now. So what's that cap you're looking at to where are we adding 2 more players to the active roster or 3, or what are you looking at right now?
Yeah, it'll just kind of depend on how the year goes. We've still got 10 more weeks of regular season and then the playoffs. So we've got a ways away before we can really sort of evaluate, okay, how many users do we have? What can we feasibly grow to that makes sense? And what are the best sort of incremental steps to get there? So it's hard to say right now, but the odds that teams stay at 17 are almost zero, given the fact that we're in the process of, and we believe we will fill a 250 player minor league.
Wow.
Which would give us about 30 players per team. And again, in the minors, it's not all about wins and losses. It's about player development, and getting to see a lot of people on the field, getting to see, how that player plays and performs, and getting that really cool film prior to the draft on players and their performance, which we have not ever had before in league history.
So with this minor league system thing, are there going to be like teams that are like direct feeders to, like, say, because I've been talking about this with my owner Jeremy Vega. We were thinking maybe this was just my idea out of curiosity of, okay, so Denver has one team that they can just pull people off of that's also sharing it with a team. Say it's Florida. These two teams could like pretty much pull players off. Say if like, because I know right now in Denver we had some people leaving. We have some people at the beginning of the season. So it's like, can we pull those players off, say a said team, and put them on our active roster?
Right now, we don't want to restrict your ability to recruit the very best player that you want. So in the minor leagues, a team, if a team loses a star, let's say that you decide to just walk on out one day, Kramer, because of I've just harassed you just for far too long and you can't take it anymore. If like Denver would be able to get anybody they wanted, right, to fill that spot, and the minor league sort of works like, at this point, the minor league sort of works like those non-contract players, right, that sign with the with the teams. They are not bound by the position change rule or anything like that. If they're able to be called up, to a pro contract, and they don't have to wait for the draft, they don't have to compete in the draft. Like if they have that opportunity, and if they're a standout, then they can go and take that opportunity. And there's really not any restriction on that. Now, once the league grows to a populace that is, much larger than it is today, you could see where a minor league team is affiliated with a major league club. You could see that major league club then is, responsible for recruiting talent to their to put into their minor league program, and would actually call up people from that minor league team to the major leagues when they do have, a player that steps aside, or a franchise moves on from a particular player, by just calling up that player. That could be a way to combat the challenges of free agency, or the challenges of only having a few draft picks, things like that. If you've got a really great guy in the minor leagues, then you could look in that direction compared to some others. So it in the long term, it could be a direct feeder system, and those major league teams could groom their coaches, their general managers, their player personnel people on that specific team. But for now, in the infancy, the minor league will be filled by the most interested parties, regardless of what team they're on, if they're on a team at all. At this point, the people that are most interested in, showing their skills and how to lead a locker room, showing their skills on, in coaching or scouting or things like that. The people that are really interested in padding that SFL resume and saying, hey, I'm here. I really want to show people how impressive I can be. That's what the minor league is on and off the field at this point. It's just sort of an overall audition for the majors is what it will ultimately end up feeling like. And being able to go into the draft and sort of break down the statistics of these players, all of which who have progressed at different, in terms of banking progression. Some have banked 17 weeks, some have banked 8 weeks. What does a player that banked 8 weeks look like compared to a player that's banked 17 weeks? How has that progression been allocated? Things like that. All that type of stuff still has to go through, an ownership approval process and things like that. But ultimately, once all the dust settles, the being able to analyze the minor league in preparation for the major league will just be, it'll add a stunning layer to what we do here, and I think it'll make a huge impact.
All right, my last question before you skedaddle out of here: will we see the top two minor league teams in a championship game in the minor leagues?
You will. It'll be a 4-team playoff, and then a championship. I don't know for sure if the championship will be on television, but we're going to push for that, and have that, because the championship will be the week prior to the draft. A lot of the draft will be on the minds of everybody at that point, and using that as a stepping stone from minor league championship on TV to the draft on TV to playing in the majors on TV. I think that's an attractive piece, but we have to talk to our television partners about that, because it obviously wasn't built into our initial contract. So we're hopeful in FTF's interest on it, but no confirmation on that yet. There will be a championship game, though, for sure.
All right, I lied. I have one more question for you. I don't even know if you can even answer this, because I know you're going to try to release it next week between weeks 2 and 3. But what's one city going to be getting a minor league team?
So right now, we haven't yet decided if, in terms of like what cities are going to have a team, if cities at all are going to have teams, if they're just going to be identities or, things like that. What we're really trying to do is keep an open mind about the creativity of our community. We want our community to be heavily involved in sort of this inaugural minor league thing. It's the minor league isn't necessarily a place where if people want to own teams, they start in the minor league. Like that's not necessarily the case. But depending upon the response that we get for the minor league and minor league leadership, that could sway the way that we decide to sort of enact these inaugural 8 franchises. We've kicked around a lot of different options, and so we're not ready just yet to sort of nail down or release the exact plans for that. But just we're looking around. We're always
keeping that open mind.
We're always in the chats. We're always hearing what people have to say, and ultimately we have to make the best business decisions that we can for the organization. But we have a very large community, and I want to see the community's response. I want to see the rookies' response. I want to see the energy and excitement, because more so than ever before, a person that just shows up has a chance to really make a big difference, even if it's only in the minor league, right? You have a way to get noticed quickly, make an impact quickly, even if it's not on the field, because it's very difficult, because the league is so big, the league is so full in the majors. A new person, it's quite challenging. How many rookies checked in? I think you said, 91?
I believe so.
Kramer this past week. And if you look at the rookie board, the big board of, active people with check-ins, it's 135 people on the board with at least 1 week banked. There were a ton of newcomers from week 1 that are now on that board. I mean, that's a substantial number of people. And when you're new in the SFL, it can swallow you up if you don't have an opportunity to shine. And I think that this, for the people that do not want to wait in line, that want to be, that want to have that Hall of Fame career on and off the field, there's no time to waste. It's right in front of you at this point. So excited to continue to roll out details as we firm them up. Excited to talk with, interview, people that really have a passion for being more involved and more engaged. If they want to do it in the majors, the minors is the place to start, and talking with those people about those opportunities. So a lot to come, but the sky is, it's infinite, our potential here in the SFL at this point.
That's well put, Cam. Thanks for joining me on the show today, man.
Thank you, Kramer. Thanks for all your great content, and what a season we've had so far. It's been really exciting.
Yep, I've buckled up. I'm ready for the long roller coaster ahead.
Yeah. The SFL is certainly one hell of a thrill ride.
That's the SFL Commissioner Cameron Irvine joining me right now on the Kramer Show. We'll be right back and have more, so stay tuned.